JM in the AM on a Wednesday. One of our favorite guests is with us live via telephone. He is, of course, Rabbi Yehoshua Josh Fass, co-founder of Nefesh B'Nefesh. And today he's going to help us with a JM in the AM project. He's also going to give us an amazing introduction to a Nefesh B'Nefesh initiative, which, frankly, is remarkable and very fitting for a lot of people in this audience. And first, of course, we're going to ask him about the mood in Israel post the final hostage, Baruch Hashem, coming home. Somebody told me yesterday that a friend of theirs named their daughter Aliyah in honor of the fact that Hashem made sure that every hostage was returned. I thought that was absolutely beautiful. Rabbi Yehoshua Fass, a pleasure to welcome you back to JM in the AM.
Thank you so much. It's great to be on.
Pretty amazing that Aliyah name.
That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sentiment.
Is that something? And tell us, I mean, we've had others on the air, but we always want your perspective. Tell us what you felt the national mood was as all this was going on and the final, the remains of the final hostage were being returned to Israel.
I think it was a national exhale. I think we've been all holding our breaths for 2 years. And as I saw, many of the memes were today is October 8th.
Right.
2 years later. And I think it's time for introspection. It's time for healing. I don't think the country is yet moving on. There's a lot of that we're still in the midst of. And there's a lot to heal. And I even see it just from our resilience center in mental health, just the outpouring requests for therapeutic services, even through some of our lone soldiers, some of our Olim, post the return of the last hostage. It's interesting is that people are holding their breath to assess like the day after, and now they're feeling the wave of the emotional intensity that's hitting them. So
wow. So not to sound like a doctor, which I'm not, but the stress and anxiety and the anxiousness that everybody felt early on and through this 2-year period, it never dissipated and gave them the opportunity to recognize that they need to speak to somebody until that final hostage was returned. We haven't heard that from anybody. That's a pretty amazing insight.
Or somehow subconsciously we compartmentalized our need.
Right.
For the day after. And when the day after hits, now we're trying to introspectively heal or to attend to our needs. When you're tending to the national needs or to the needs of all the families that have been such distress, at this point you're now looking inwards and you're realizing that there's much needed for oneself.
Wow.
And it's almost as your emotions were in abeyance for the last 2 years, and now it's time to be a little bit centered on self. And it's and I think there's a lot of disbelief as well. I'm not sure many of us felt that we would actually see the day that everyone will be returned.
Yeah, so true. So much to be thankful for. Does the Israeli government, and this is not, I'm not baiting you to criticize anybody. I just, over the years, over the decades, even the government's attitude toward therapy and toward dealing with PTSD for its soldiers has improved. I mean, you have to admit that certainly in the last 50 years there's been tremendous improvement. Do you see them continuously going in that direction? Do you think that they will be paying a lot more attention and dedicating more and more time and funds and resources for this type of therapy that's necessary?
Oh, it's evident that they are. And it's evident that the Ministry of Health has rolled up their sleeves and realized that this is a real need. So I'm talking about as a generational tsunami of PTSD, that it's not just the adults and soldiers and family and loved ones. It's just our children grew up in the last 2 years with very, very different sights and sounds and alarms. So they're on edge. We haven't even peeled those layers of trauma to deal with the children who might have not even been in Otef Aza or the North. It's just our kids have been running to bomb shelters for 2 years, have heard sirens, they hear a sound and they flinch. So there is almost a national need of some kind of therapeutic services, and the government recognizes that. remarkably so. And I see it firsthand. I see it with our involvement on the immigration, on the immigrant therapy, and also on the lone soldiers. We're very, very connected to the Ministry of Health on these issues. And some of the organizational involvement is truly stellar and inspiring.
Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. And all this whole attitude, by the way, is reflected in your Olim. Those of you who weren't paying attention when Nefesh B'Nefesh, and we didn't pay much attention to this because I was out for a good part of the end of December. But for those of you out there who are curious about how 2025 ended for Nefesh B'Nefesh, they released their Aliyah figures, and 4,100, that's 4,150 individuals from North America made Aliyah in 2025. It's the highest figure since 2021, so we say Mazal Tov, of course, to Rabbi Fass. It's an increase of more than 12% in comparison to 2024, when the number was just around 3,700. And what's amazing, Rabbi Fass, is that over half of the applicants to Nefesh B'Nefesh have cited Zionism and solidarity since the war as their reason for Aliyah. And, you know, you and I have always discussed reasons for Aliyah, and, you know, the list isn't that long, but a lot of people don't always go in that direction when it comes to discussing a lifelong dream. Very often they'll talk about how, you know, this is something that we've dreamt about, thought about, and planned for years. But here specifically, they cited Zionism and the solidarity of the war for their reason for Aliyah. Pretty remarkable.
Truly.
And I say myself,
we've talked about this multiple times. That surprisingly so, ironically so, that when going gets tough, that's when people feel galvanized and connected and really roll up their sleeves to be passionate about their connection to the state of Israel in so many different ways.
I really wonder, I'm just sitting here thinking, and I mean, there's no reason to conjecture, but nonetheless, I'm wondering if, you know, what percentage of people who had this dream and were on the road to eventually getting to Israel were spurred on to make it happen sooner, quicker, faster because of the war, or even, you know, felt they were procrastinating a bit and it actually made it happen because of the war. Now, that's a stat that's probably hard to obtain, right? But I'm sure you've heard.
It's hard. You would have to call all of the emails and the phone calls and the transcripts of all of our interactions. I know that it was an accelerant. I know that after October 7th, individuals who've been sitting on the fence very much use this as a catalyst or a motivational factor for just its time. Some, a minority, said we weren't thinking about Aliyah, but we realized what was missing in our ideology, in our value system, and it made us have this eureka moment. Very few, but it was expressed. But most accelerated, and some came despite. Meaning, we were planning on making Aliyah. Our family said we shouldn't come during the war, but we came, despite what they said. So you have all those different expressions being voiced.
Yeah, I was going to say that certainly anecdotally you have proof, but the truth is anecdotally you have proof for every single angle, frankly. And I know MedX is going to happen next month, and this is not really a pitch directly for that, but there is an effort. I wish I could find that release this moment. I don't know why I misplaced it. But you're actually making an effort to ask medical professionals who are living and working in the United States to realize that Israel is trying to fill a need to deal with the shortage that they have with medical staff. And again, people next month here in this area are going to be able to find out a lot more. But the reality is that as time goes by, the Israeli government is making it easier and easier for those in the medical field to actually move and perform their services in Israel. And I'm assuming and confirming with you that that direction simply continues.
Oh, it continues. And just if we're talking about statistics, 2025, which we also released the statistics just recently, was another banner year for the International Medical Aliyah program.
Wow.
We had 566 physicians from around the world that we facilitated, we licensed, together with the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Immigration and Absorption, and we placed them in hospitals and clinics throughout the country. And it's just incredible. And that's 566, not just people, it's families. 566 physicians, medical-oriented families coming to bolster the entire medical infrastructure within Israel. And that's just incredible. I was just one of our donors asked for a report. I wanted to know how many pediatricians came over the last year and a half to Israel through the program and how many are treating patients in Israel's periphery. And I pulled up the report this morning, 66 pediatricians
Wow.
over the last year and a half, 23 of them, 23 pediatricians who are treating peripheral Israeli citizens, which is just outstanding.
I mean, there's some towns on that list that have no other doctor, probably.
Exactly. Or specialists
Right.
that the community, the hospitals, the clinics have never seen.
Wow. So it would be pretty remarkable if you took care of the entire shortage. It would be unbelievable if at one point Israel declares, okay, it's done.
2 years ago when we launched it, and we launched it on your show, that we had a 2,000 target, 2,000 physicians over 5 years.
Right.
And we've already, in 2 years, we've hit over 1,000.
Wow.
We've hit 1,100 in 2 years. So we're way above what our targets were supposed to be in year 1 and year 2. So
Yeah, well, that's the Nefesh B'Nefesh tradition, always overextending past the target.
Under promise, over deliver.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. As you described, because you mentioned the name of it, all of this is under sort of like a separate department or separate office. I mean, you felt the need, and you've explained this in the past, you felt the need that this whole section of the medical piece has to not break away from Nefesh, but has to be operated in its own sphere, so to speak, as part of the organization.
And that's the direction of the organization. We really created 4 different product lines or 4 different mini organizations under the umbrella. The Aliyah facilitation that everyone knows that Nefesh is all about. And then there's national service, which is lone soldiers and B'nai Shirut Bodedot, which we discussed at nauseam over the last few years. The third one is national development, and that's peripheral development and the physicians. And now we're going to expand, we'll keep this for another show, but our recruiting therapists and the trauma therapists to Israel, very much like the International Medical Aliyah program for physicians. And then the fourth is the Zionist education. So each of these pillars are becoming so significant within their own budgets, with their own staffing, that they're almost spinning off into micro-organizations. So you're right. And with different types of personnel, with different types of languages, with a different kind of budget, with different kinds of management. But that's the direction of the organization. And not only is it exciting, because literally these 4 different pillars are pumping out incredible new initiatives, but it also helps me because when individuals, organizations, government agencies around the world are approaching Nefesh to take on a project, it's easier for me to see whether or not it falls within those pillars. If it doesn't fall into those pillars, then we really basically don't take it. But if it falls into it, there's a natural home and a natural staff for them to be equipped to handle that challenge. So it's very exciting times, very significant times for the organization. And we're growing leaps and bounds. And I feel like every single time we speak, and that's often, I share with you another project. I'm even thinking now of 2 other new announcements I'm going to be sharing with you over the next month and a half, which I cannot do now because I have yet signed with the government, but 2 very, very exciting projects. But one project which we can talk about today is what we're doing for Zionist education.
Yeah, that's really our story for today. Nefesh B'Nefesh's Zionist Education Initiative has launched the ZEI Fellowship, a groundbreaking new professional fellowship designed to equip North American Jewish high school educators to teach Israel and Zionism with a new Israel curriculum at a moment of unprecedented urgency for Jewish education. The first fellowship cohort starts in Israel on July 6th, and applications are now open for North American teachers at Jewish day schools. I would have to imagine this thing is going to sell out pretty quickly. Am I right?
Oh, I think it already is. It's going to be hard vetting this, but it's incredible to see that if you have a successful idea, how it naturally progresses and develops. 3 years ago, someone very close to you, Rabbi Polichowski, was hired to run our Zionist Education Initiative, right, and to really start educating the gap year students and missions and students who came to Israel to teach them about Zionism, because we felt and discovered that very few gap year programs have actually discussed and articulated what Zionism means and their connection to Zionism. And we are now close to 40,000 unique students a year that go through these visits to our campus or on sites for Zionist education. And in parallel, when we hired Rabbi Josh Spodek, he was developing a curriculum because we started hearing from schools, why wait until they're in a gap year to start learning about this? They should start learning about it in their junior or senior year in high school. Right. So we started developing a curriculum, and we tested the curriculum in around 10 schools last year, getting feedback, what needs to be fixed, what needs needed, what are the skills that we need to teach the teachers, what kind of paraphernalia and products we need to create for this classroom. And we really formulated and developed a beautiful, beautiful textbook curriculum. We partner with Koren Publishers, right, and Koren is going to, in a year from now, print their first textbook. And that's going to be the Nefesh B'Nefesh textbook on teaching Zionism.
Wow.
And we realized that in next year, that's not one of our announcements, but in a year from now, when the textbooks are going to be out on the shelf and in schools and being used, and it's not just going to be for schools, it's going to, families going to be grabbing all these shelves, because they'll be able to teach people history and really articulate our connection to the land of Israel through the prism of archaeology and Tanakh and history and world events and developments. But we realized that you can have an amazing curriculum and you can have amazing supplies, but if a teacher is not trained in being able to communicate and teach pedagogically their students, then it's for naught.
Yep.
So we partnered with Kadima Coaching, which is the premier organization that does professional development for teachers in America and now in Europe. And we created this fellowship that's not just a few days in Israel, but it's an ongoing annual development, trying out, learning, mastering the curriculum. And now that that's out, we're having so many different other prospective partners knocking on our door and asking if they can partner as well. And that I'll hold for another announcement in the future. But it's incredible. So with these 10 to 15 fellows testing out the curriculum over the next year, and then when Koren publishing the textbook in 12 months from now, we'll have 15 teachers with a textbook out there who will be training and helping the next cohort. And if we do this over the next few years, we'll have 50, 60, 70 teachers throughout America, throughout North America, teaching Zionut. And it could be incredible.
Not that I'm discouraging you from inviting teachers to Israel to be part of the cohort, and I don't think you'd be discouraged from doing it either, but the textbook is a game changer. I know you're making the point, and I'm just reiterating it, but what a game changer, because in theory, when one has a good textbook, and I think most teachers would agree with this, obviously to be there in Israel and be trained the way you described is optimum. But when there's a good textbook available and a teacher can spend, time over the summer or other times during the year really preparing well with it, it's a game changer. And I'm not saying again.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's not going to be mutually exclusive. I agree with you. But let's have some masters, educators out there who have tested, tried it, been on site, been to archaeological sites, met certain historical personalities, be able to transmit that excitement back at home. Yeah. And on top of that, we'll create videos for them. We'll be involved in Prisma. We'll be involved in the conventions, educational conventions, so that we'll be able to transmit it to the other teachers who are not able to come to Israel for a week or two. Also financially, just to be able to sustain and continue, we're going to have to create that option that's online or with a physical book.
Well, I'm disappointed, Rabbi Fass. Not one teacher has contacted me to use my connection to Nefesh B'Nefesh to try to get them into this cohort, and I can't understand why. Could you explain it, please?
Thank you for announcing that. Now you're going to be calling me and texting me tonight.
I mean, what's going on with the teachers in this area? Come on, don't you want to be part of this? Although you did say...
We already got a request 2 days ago from a Mexican educator saying, where do we draw the line for North America?
Wow. So you have to do this in multiple languages.
Yeah, well, that's the dream. The same way that we've adapted many of our programs internationally and have that multilingual staff in the pillars that we just discussed. That's a natural progression of translating the textbook, opening up the fellowship to other countries. But let's first get the kinks out of this one and kick the tires out of this curriculum first.
Information, by the way, obviously Nefesh B'Nefesh information, 866-4Aliyah and NBN.org.il. But information about the Nefesh B'Nefesh Zionist Education Initiative. And again, teachers, principals, board members and lay leaders that are very involved in the school, take this down, because you want to make sure you have at least one representative from your school, from your high school, who is part of this cohort and studying and learning and training with our friends at Nefesh B'Nefesh. So here's the website, zei.nbn.org.il. Again, that's ZEI, Zionist Education Initiative, .nbn.org.il. By the way, can I ask you a random question? I know that you made quite an effort, and your staff made quite an effort to do a major event in Australia. Are you seeing an uptick in Aliyah from Australia?
Yes. There's a lot of talk from Australia.
So that was a big success. I mean, that was just a few months ago, right?
Correct. And then the Bondi Beach episode happened literally a week and a half, 2 weeks after the event.
Oh, was that close to it? I don't remember that it was that close. So you did,
it was
so you did the event
soon after.
You did the event in the beginning of December? Oh, like Thanksgiving time, right? It was around Thanksgiving time, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I was supposed to go. I stayed back for you.
Right. Oh, boy. I'll tell you. V'kabetzenu yachad me'arba kanfot haaretz. This, folks, and don't worry, I've put down his microphone for this. This, folks, is why I consider Rabbi Fass one of the most, if not the most, important Jewish leader of the 21st century. This dream, the dream of the prophets, the dream of Jewish leadership, the dream of great Zionists, the dream of those who sacrificed their lives to do everything possible to get the state of Israel to this point, the dream of so many IDF soldiers who've always dreamt about the future of Israel and what they're defending. This dream, we're watching it come true. V'kabetzenu yachad, gathering Jews from all around the world coming to Israel. And Rabbi Fass is responsible for that. And now that I'll give you a minute to blush and raise your microphone one more time, I remind everybody that you too, you who I'm speaking with, can go ahead and start your journey to Israel. 866-4Aliyah and NBN.org.il. Rabbi Yehoshua Fass is with us live via telephone from Israel. So we're a little late because it was the last week of December that I wanted to get Rabbi Fass on to encourage people to give to our annual campaign. We're no longer calling it the year-end fundraiser. As we restarted, we're calling it the annual campaign, which isn't such a bad stretch, by the way. It used to always be in February and March, so I don't feel bad about that at all. And obviously, we're only speaking to those who haven't given yet. And if you're among those who has not given yet, please go to fjbunity.org. Again, that's fjbunity.org, and be as generous as possible. And I am proud, and I wrote it in my book, to be a partner with Rabbi Fass in the work that he does with Nefesh B'Nefesh. And I'm proud that he's proud to be a partner and recognize over all these decades the work that we're doing here on a daily basis. There's nothing greater in this role than being a spokesman for Israel. Of all the things I'm able to do from this pulpit, from this seat, from this mic, there's nothing better than being able to be involved and to actually assist in the process of people discovering Nefesh B'Nefesh and the ability to get to Israel in as easy a way as possible with their families. And Rabbi Fass, I turn to you. Make believe it's the end of December. Make believe I didn't get the flu on December the 22nd that started this whole thing. And I turn to you to encourage everybody to keep JM and the AM and the Nachum Segal Network in mind and to be as generous as possible to help us move forward.
Well, first of all, you know how much I value our partnership. More importantly, how much I cherish our friendship. And I believe, and I've said this multiple times in multiple locations, on the air, physically, personally, that your voice and your megaphone and your mic, or your pulpit, as you call it, has connected Jews from around the world to Israel News, to a visceral, passionate, emotional connection to what is happening in our homeland. There has not been any other parallel of a person preaching, connecting, voicing that connection. And you have tremendous chiyut. And even Nefesh would be not where it is today if it wasn't for your livoy, for your hand-holding, for your megaphoning, for your speaker to our actions. And I cherish that, and I value it, and I have tremendous hakarat tov. So as it comes to an end of the year, being it December, joking, we would love to. I would love to contribute $10,000 to the campaign, and I encourage others to follow in our footsteps.
I thank you so much. And we should point out, by the way, that we love participating in each other's smachot when possible. And you and the entire Fass family are literally coming off of a wedding. Baruch Hashem. Mazal tov to you. Where, in what city is the new couple living?
The new couple that just got married 2 weeks ago is living in Yerushalayim.
Wow.
They actually just moved into their apartment today, and our next wedding, Bezrat Hashem, is in 3.5 weeks. So we are jumping from chatuna to chatuna.
Can you do this publicly? Can you? I don't know if you may feel it's an ayin hara, but if one analyzes the incredible smachot Baruch Hashem b'li ayin hara that your family has had, it's quite a run in a relatively short period of time. Do you want to enumerate that for us, or we'll just leave it at that?
Yeah. Let's do the next Bezrat Hashem, and then we'll get on the air.
Baruch Hashem, I'll tell you, just amazing. the brachot that
only very few people know the story, so we'll share it with your audience once we get to that point.
Yeah, well, can't wait to do that. I thank you for your generosity. I thank you for your kind words. I thank you for all the support. As I've said to you, as we continue to bridge the gap with Israel, I mean, most people at this point who listen regularly know what the plan is. At some point in 2026, we're going to actually be, and when I say we, I mean Stacy and myself, we're actually going to be establishing ourselves. My kids like to say on both sides of the world, because I guess that's what happens when you have children and grandchildren on both sides of the world, but certainly much more so in Israel than we have in the past. And that, of course, Bezrat Hashem will lead to Aliyah. The moment Rabbi Fass says, okay, this is the month and year you got to make Aliyah. And that's just going to lead this program, and I've said this to you off the air, I think I've said it to you on the air. This is going to lead to a whole new vista of guests and opportunities and organizations and initiatives that are going on in Israel that people here are not even remotely aware of. And I'm looking forward to not just continuing what we're doing here on a daily basis, but actually growing, even at this age, actually growing what we're doing on a daily basis, because it's going to open up some incredible and amazing avenues for us. So Rabbi Fass, thank you for holding our hand through this process as we make this incredible shift in our lives and hopefully just enhance the great programming that goes on every single day. It could be the most exciting announcement. And I will repeat my pledge that in the plans to expand the Nefesh headquarters campus in Yerushalayim, we're adding 3 floors, please God. There is a studio in the works. I love it.
For you, my dear friend.
I love it. And I thank you for it. And by the way, I really thank you for it now, because if we've proven anything, you can ask my wife, if we've proven anything in the last 5 weeks, I cannot work at home. I've got to get into a studio and be in a
No, I was hoping Stacy would be sitting with you there. It'll be great.
I don't mind if she's there every day. It just can't be in the house. It's as simple as that.
Fine. We'll remove the couch. So you...
Plenty of room. All right.
Go home.
Rabbi Fass, I thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
God bless you. And Vishavu Vanim Ligvulam. We should continue.
Thank you. It's good to hear you strong. Continue with Flush Lema.
Amen.
And Mazal Tov. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Another baby granddaughter.
I am told that the aforementioned Rabbi Uri, who you spoke about in this conversation, I'm told that he will be representing the grandfathers at the naming tomorrow. That's what I've been told. So I'm assuming you're giving him a part of the morning off, Rabbi Fass. That's what my assumption
I guess so. Where are they naming the baby?
I believe in TVA. I believe in the yeshiva itself.
Yes, Shemad.
Yeah. It's be very nice.
Very nice.
And
beautiful. Mazal Tov.
Baruch Hashem. And I, of course, it's the anniversary of my bar mitzvah this Shabbos, so I was joking. Ooh. I was joking with the great scholar Lior Gottlieb, who, as everyone in this audience knows, was the chavrusa of the late great Mayor Weingarten, to just show you how incredible Mayor was. That this is who his chavrusa was. I was joking with Lior. I said, I'm thinking maybe they should name her Yisro. After all, my bar mitzvah, it's the week of Yisro, etc. So he, being the academic that he is, I took me a drop seriously and responded, well, if you're going in that direction, you may want to consider Tzipora. That's what he said to me. So, I'll tell you.
That's what happens when you share with scholars your intent.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's some people who take everything I say seriously. What can I tell you? Anyway, Mazal Tov. Tomorrow we'll tell everybody the name.
Thank
please,
you so much.
And thank you, Rabbi Fass. You're amazing. There he is, Rabbi Yehoshua Josh Fass, everybody. Nefesh B'Nefesh with a major commitment to us, which I greatly appreciated, part of our annual campaign. Plus, of course, as we announced, the brand new Zionist Education Initiative. If you're a teacher out there or a principal and you don't take advantage of this, I don't even know what to say. Go to the website, zei.nbn.org.il, zei.nbn.org.il. More coming up. You're listening to JM in the AM.